Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well, keeping on your purpose. I think we're at 810 days, something like that. And it's great to be alive and getting better and better. I'm starting to get back into the rhythm of things a little bit. We got lots of activities going on at home. Kids and family and dogs and cats and work and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. But it's always good to do a video and try to kind of keep the ball rolling a little bit here and seeing if we can kind of try to keep people motivated and to keep on the purpose and plan. So thank you for all the subscriptions. I think we're at 510 now, so we're growing stronger. And I try to get to all the comments if I can. But please continue to write. Adrian, I'm glad you liked the video that we did with your topic. I think the manifestation is really important. I think certainly being consistent is important, and so please keep writing, and we'll continue to keep talking about these type of topics and kind of focusing on these type of things. So I think we'll talk about this one in the sense of being a strong male. You have to have retention. You have to practice semen retention to be a strong male. And why do I say that? And there's a lot of people have kind of asked me about that in different types of ways. And so let's kind of address that a little bit and things that we're talking about. All right, so I just noticed it a few minutes ago going into a Walgreens here by my area, and just a young lady, must have been in her 20s, 22, just staring. And she just could not stop staring, and finally broke the contact, and it was just a very different type of situation. Now, guys, I'm 61 years old, and so certainly, though I appreciate your comments and compliments about not looking 61, and I think it's a lot to do with the Fountain of Youth stuff that I do and all those type of things, and I appreciate that, and I feel a lot younger than 61. But, realistically, you're still talking about a lot of you handsome guys and guys who are strong, virile guys in their 20s are really getting the attraction that you should from a lot of these females. So for me to get a stare like that is just, that didn't happen for many, many years. And so that's an indication really to me that whatever I'm doing differently is kind of reacting with that. And so I haven't had such nice behavior from women, any type of woman, that happens all the time now. Whether they're complimentary, whether they're nice, or they stare at you, or whatever it might be, even flirtation types of things. So, and then, like I said, at my age, that's kind of a crazy type of thing. But it goes back to the idea that men are not bound by the age. Because when it really comes down to it, you're really kind of focusing more on the things that they're doing to go ahead and, focus on things that are important. And I think that the most important thing really is looking at the energy level you have. And people pick those things out, and they see those things, and they recognize those things. And whether they do it consciously or subconsciously, they're seeing that in you, and they pick it out. And I think that's the key thing when it comes down to it. And so it doesn't matter what your age really is. It really matters of what energy level you have. And so you really only become, in my sense, a man once you're practicing keeping your attention and discipline. Once a man becomes disciplined in the things that he does, then you become a man. And I think sometimes it takes a long time. It took me a long time. Hopefully the reason I'm doing a lot of these messages is that it doesn't take you guys a long time, that you guys kind of recognize it, but we all come to the same journey, in different ways. And you're coming to a journey as you're going through things yourself, and you're seeing what things have been told to you that's right in our world and what things are not. Now, God always says that we don't live in flesh and blood, even though it may seem like it looks like that. We live in spirits and principalities, and those are the things that the ideas that people tell you that really are wrong. And this is why they crucified Jesus in the long run, because so many people felt wrong that he was blaspheming. He was doing a lot of things that were against what should be done. And what he really doing was talking about the truth. And so that's one of the reasons why you really kind of go against the mainstream when you're really thinking about faith and having faith in people and God and Jesus, in my case Jesus Christ, and you're really going against faith. You're not against faith. You're going against the mainstream. And that's the way you have to kind of think of yourself. And so as a man, you are standing above, which is why women tend to be attracted to you. They like strength for a lot of reasons, physically and emotionally, and they sense that strength. So they don't know exactly what they're sensing, They may think it's crazy to kind of stare at the guy, but they sense it. They see the aura. They understand that, because it's very rare nowadays that we find. It wasn't as rare back in the 50s and 60s when I was growing up. I think there was a lot more men who were not succumbing to a lot of these things that we're talking about. But I think that it started to grow, especially with the internet. It started to grow with a lot of things over the years, and it's very difficult for people to fight those type of battles and to stay away from those type of things. And so that's why you find very few people to do that. But once again, my friends, the strength of the male comes back down to the retention. And if you can retain and just, like I said, I mean, we all make mistakes. And I've made them over the years hundreds of times. But if you understand the principle and understand it's a lifestyle type of change, and you're focusing on a lifestyle, well, then you're dealing with a different type of mentality. And your masculinity comes out. Now, again, in our society, people are going to call you toxic male, masculinity, things like that. You got to recognize what that really is. That is really an insecurity, a fear that people have because you're becoming a strong male, the way God intended you to be. There's a reason why God had males and females, and both are crucial, are needed for our society to continue to grow, but they also have different roles, and they play different roles. And you see this a lot when people try to do different roles, and you have single parents trying to do both roles, or you have one parent trying to do a different role. It just never works, and the children are affected a great deal. And if you look at the future generation, you're looking at trying to have masculine men and feminine women. And, no matter what's being said in society, that's all a deviance away from God's plan. And I think this is the reason why we talk about keeping your retention, because these are one of the things that we talk about as being important to be a strong male. And I think as we talk about this a lot, being a strong male means you have to be consistent, but you also have to have retention. And as I said, you're going to get a lot of bizarre type behaviors. You're going to get some people who just don't like, the strength you're having. They just don't like it, and they'll react either jealously or they'll pick a fight. I've had that happen as well. And you might just be minding your own business, but the way you're carrying yourself, the way you're acting, especially with the confidence you have now when it comes to retention, is just astronomical. And when you look at that type of thing, people are going to see that. Now, like I said, they're not always going to be positive. And that's something you have to watch and be concerned about. Not so concerned, but to the point where you recognize what's happening. Also, you have to recognize and try to understand how to handle that attraction when it becomes attraction. Now, in my case, is obviously I've been happily married for many, many years, and so to me, it's really more of just a flattering that someone, I guess at my age, who never was able to get those type of looks and things when I was younger, it just blows me off the map to even think about the fact that, it took me, 57 years to actually start doing that. And there are times, I guess, if I go back and reflect, there's probably times that I had some of that, but not to the point where it's noticeable. And I think I go back to what I said a long time ago, is that I remember feeling different when I was 12 and 13 years old. And that's because I didn't think about women when I was 12, 13 years old. I was just having fun, doing things. And I remember a different mentality in the back of my mind. It's not very clear to me, obviously, when I was 12, but I did feel different about things. I did act differently, and I did recognize a difference between that lifestyle and what I started doing. And so I think that, and obviously biology-wise, males start to get their hormones up and all things like that. And so it is a little more difficult of a type of situation. But also recognize that as you're looking at your growth as a human being, as a male, you're going to be battling this testosterone idea and trying to balance it out, having discipline, being able to kind of get yourself in gear and getting the most you can get out of life and things that you do. And this is the type of stuff that becomes crucial, as you go along. But it's just amazing to me the amount of relaxation. I've been going through a lot of changes of late, as we talked about before, with the house and my older kids back for a while, and 2 huge dogs running around, a Great Pyrenees and a Newfoundie, and then I got cats and cars and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And at some level, you're still trying to work, you're still trying to do things. And so, as you guys know, some of you guys have families, some of you may not, you get a lot of different responsibilities. As a male, it's expected of me to be the leader in charge. And so that comes along with a lot of responsibility, and you got to deal with the stress. And so in the past, the stress, obviously, I hate to admit this, but the stress I had to focus on was trying to relieve my energy. And I thought that was the way to do it. And that really was the wrong way. It's kind of like the opposite of that. And so that's kind of why I kind of kept fighting this and thinking there's got to be a better way to work in life. There's a better way. How do I get back to that point that I had before all this started, when I was really a small, young person? And so this is how I started reading about retention and those type of things. And so people can act like men, they can think they're men, right? But when it really comes down to it, it's the testosterone levels that you continue to maintain within yourself. And more importantly, and more importantly than the testosterone, it's really your energy levels. And when your energy level is such a high level like it is, then you're basically kind of really coming out with that masculinity. You're not as worried about things. I used to be always high anxiety, high worry, and I don't have that anymore. And that's a positive type of thing. Obviously, the attraction level is another positive type of thing. And that's something also to kind of look at and be important with. So those things are always very important, as you look at this. I think also you want to remember it's your focus. Those things are going to increase. Those things are always something that's going to be more positive. And you're also going to have a lot more energy to do things. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:45, to start taking the dogs out, and I don't go to bed until 10, 11 o'clock sometimes. So I try to get my 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but I find that I don't need a lot more than that. And I think a lot of that goes back to the retention and being able to be strong when it comes to who you are and the energy you have. Now, guys, the other thing is I think you can see this with people, and I'm going to do a little bit longer one here today just to kind of focus on this. You can see this in people. I guess this is the thing that I want to kind of highly focus on. You could see people who have strong energy and people who don't. You can see people who get things done and people who look like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but they're dying. they're dying on the vine, he used to call it. They're dying because they're not active. And I remember Martin Luther King said this one time, that, if you got to keep moving around, keep doing things, right? I don't care how old you are. I'm going to be at the point that even though if I'm having a cold, which I don't have very often at all, or anything like that, you're going to keep pushing through. Because the measure of the man is not when things are going well. The measure of the man is when things are struggling and when things are not going too well. And that's when you can tell who the man is. And in a lot of cases, the man comes from a place of strength internally, and a lot of that comes from the retention. They're a strong person. And because they're a strong person, they're going to make decisions that are strong overall. And other people, women included especially, are going to admire that. And that's really kind of what you want. Because nowadays in our society, with people focusing so much on looks and flesh and all kinds of stuff like that, it's very easy to get caught up in all that. And what you really kind of want to recognize is that it's not so much that, it's really how you're able to handle those type of things. And it's really more of a case of focusing on the things that are important when it comes to retention. And I think that's the key thing. The key thing really is retention. And you become more of a strong male when that happens. And I think that's a key type of element in what we're talking about. All right, guys, so once again, the key we're talking about here is that I don't believe you can really become a strong male unless you really practice discipline, and the discipline comes from starting with retention. I think it's difficult to have a lot of discipline on things unless you learn the behavior of retaining. If you're able to do that and say no to pictures and say no to women who want to have sex with you, and I know it sounds like a kind of a foreign concept, but no, you're going to make the right choices, and you're not going to waste a lot of time with things that are short-term pleasures that only last for a few minutes, and you're going to focus more on the long-term types of gains and satisfaction that you're going to have as a person. And that's the key to it. All right, guys, so enough for today. Hope you guys have a great day. Today is August 24th, 2022. Hope you guys continue to stay on your purpose. Hope these things are helping you guys. Certainly shoot me out any questions, ideas, things you want to talk about. I have a few that I have to catch up with. Sims had one I got to go back and look at and focus on, and those type of things. But continue to kind of look to see if there's things that you really want me to kind of focus on. All right, guys, until next time, battle on. God bless you guys, and keep up the good work. Take care, guys.